you know what quad 4 is. I think it's pretty straightforward. But the reality is that we back-tested that economic circumstance. Because again, no matter what your life is, the one that you love or you don't love, you know, quad 4 is when both growth and inflation are slowing at the same time. The only time you're going to lose money in Bitcoin is in quad 4. That's a back-tested fact. It might change. It might not be a fact that everybody likes because it stirs up hornets or whatever. But I don't love or hate that, right? There are 3 different economic scenarios out of 4 where I know I'm going to make money being long Bitcoin, and that's awesome. You know what the only other thing that has that attribute, the major one that you've mentioned? It's tech, big cap tech. Big cap tech, the only time you could lose a considerable amount of your assets, a drawdown, which I think most humans should be aware of, is when you have those quad 4 deflationary conditions. So that's one thing that I just wanted to submit here today. Like, is that something that people that are, you know, romanticizing about the story, like, are aware of? Fundamental. I think it would be good for them to be aware of that, because at least they'd buy a lot more of it at the time when they could get a lot more of it at a lower price.
Well, Keith, you know, I'm glad there are traders in the world, and I'm not a trader. But if there were no traders in the world, there would be nobody to sell to me when I want to buy. So I want people to do that, and I appreciate it. But having said it all, let's go back to the year 2012, and let's talk about trading Google, Apple, Amazon, and Facebook. And at the end of the day, the only mistake you could make is be short any of them. At the end of the day, Amazon crushed 15,000 retailers, and Google crushed 10,000 different entertainment companies, and Apple destroyed 10,000 different device companies. And so there is one asset in each of those markets that destroyed everybody else. If you picked the one asset and you bought it at any point in the decade, you were a winner. And if you sold it at any point in the decade, you were a loser. So, you know, the difference is, I mean, when you talk about trading soybeans or corn futures or wheat or oil or whatever, these are commodities, and people make them, and the price goes up and the price goes down. And if you time it right, you make some money. But when we're talking about a software network that's going to change the life of 1 billion people and dematerialize $1 trillion of energy, the only question is that one the winner? And Bitcoin is the winner of the crypto wars. It defeated 6,500 different crypto competitors, and it has risen out of those wars to be the dominant crypto asset network, just like Amazon defeated every retailer in cyberspace, just like Apple defeated everybody in mobile space, just like Facebook defeated everybody in social space. You have a chance to buy and own the winner and just wait for the rest of the world to recognize it. And, you know, you tell me, is there any winning trade of Facebook or Apple or Google or Amazon stock in the year 2012 that's better than the trade of buying it?
Well, it depends on what,
when I look at it,
it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, it's not like, you know, what there's making money because you have none. And there's that, you know, that I get that. You know, you can't afford to miss this. Because if you miss Facebook, you're an idiot, you know. But then once you have money, there's risk managing the money that you have. Like, I would say that a low volatility asset class that I own a shitload of and consume it, it's very liquid, is wine. I mean, it's standed the test of time. I mean, if you choose the right vintage and hold it, you can hold it and drink it and enjoy it thoroughly. You know, there are a lot of different ways to do this. This isn't just like there's one idea that can change the world. Therefore, I mean, if you took my wine away from me, I'd hate my life. That would suck. I mean, that's my life, right? It's so from a libertarian's perspective, you know, I think there are a lot. For me, what I'm really trying to find is the place for, which I have found, by the way. I've found a Bitcoin as an asset allocation in my portfolio. It's not all of it. And I don't know why it has to be all or none, and I wonder what your thoughts are on that. Because in addition to my company's equity, my wine, I do. There are times to own a lot of gold, and there are times not to. That's actually the lesson that I'm trying to at least engage people in with Bitcoin specifically.
So Keith, all the guys that have more money than God in this world, right? They have it because they bought or owned or created a technology that changed the life of 1 billion people. And so I don't think you're going to get 1,000x your return on buying a nice Chateaubriand or whatever.
Absolutely not.
If you could show me, if you showed me a sugar cube that you could produce 1 billion of and give it to people, and for the rest of their life, they would be perennially happy with no health issues, I would say you should invest in that wine network. But what we're talking about here is a monetary network never before in the history of the world created at the beginning of the S curve. If you buy at the beginning of the S curve and you're right, then you're going to have an extraordinary return as an investor. If you buy at the end of the S curve, maybe you'll hold some value. Look, let me ask you one more question. Say you actually wanted to take $1 million and you wanted to put it in an investment and give it to your daughter or your granddaughter in 30 years. How would you do that? Like, how do you pass down a material amount of money to your granddaughter or your daughter in 30 years? Because I can't do it with real estate in Florida. They tax it away from you in 30 years. I can't do it with any stock because I don't know the stock won't get destroyed in 30 years. I can't do it with gold because it's going to be cut in half and maybe seized by someone in 30 years. I can't do it with a bond and I can't do it with currency. With Bitcoin, because you can't make any more of it, you've got this pure piece of financial energy. You could buy it, you could hold it for no carry cost, and you would be able to hand it to someone in 30 years. So the magic of this is, for the first time in human history, we figured out how to send money forward in time 10,000 days without losing it. It's a magical thing. By the way, if I give you a battery, if you put $1 million of electricity in a battery, it bleeds 2% a month. You lose 24% of your energy in a year. You can't do it with a battery. The gold battery bleeds 2 to 3% a year. We've got a battery that doesn't bleed energy. It's a magical achievement. Nobody in the history of economics ever created a closed monetary system that respects the laws of thermodynamics, and it doesn't bleed off monetary energy into the atmosphere. I mean, how is that not something that you would want to put some amount of monetary energy into to protect for the future?